Tackle the tough questions, challenge assumption, and give a voice to the unheard. This is the Morning Express on Mainland 98.3 FM.
Welcome on board the Morning Express.
Good morning.
You are listening to the Morning Express on Mainland 98.3 FM.
Good morning.
Beautiful and lovely Friday morning. Thank God it's Friday, TGIF. I want to believe you are grateful for the gift of life, because when there is life, there is hope. No matter the ups and downs, no matter the hula baloo, no matter the roller coaster, always remember that it's just a phase. Regardless of whatever you're facing, it's just a phase. And trust me, before you can even imagine, in a twinkling of an eye, you see that you get over it. Just don't stay down. Make sure that to say that someone could be listening and someone could actually need that. That's why we are the sound of Lagos. This is Mainland 98.3 FM, Morning Express right here. Several contents you would definitely want to involve your morning with, and we'll promise to definitely always make it count at every point in time. Trends in the papers it is at this time, dedicated. Right, and we'll let you definitely know and keep you updated abreast of all of those things, either in the shows and the nooks and crannies of the country or outside. We'll definitely keep you updated. So you're welcome on board. My name is Tʀᴇ Psalsoye, and while we are bringing the stories into the fore, we're also giving perspective and analyze these issues with the help of our in-house analyst side for us. Enjoy an audio-visual experience of the conversation at any point in time on Facebook. For you can go online either on Facebook or on YouTube. Just search for Melanitis, your location, so it's not really you get to listen to every of our content again. And okay, I have side forward on the other side, so we can kick start without further ado because of our limited time every Friday. Well, my friend lost a mother yesterday, and it's been a very, I don't know, mixed feeling for me.
Yeah, it happens. Again, that's what life brings. It brings moments like that, and I understand that. It might be tough to accept, but again, that's the reality of life. It's time to come to the world, it's time to live. And so we condole with...
I don't really want to dwell on that. Anyways, all is well. Let's kickstart side forward. You're welcome to Trends in the Papers on Mainland 98.3 FM. Let's just, start from the biggest story. The top stories, the top story rather, in all our dailies. Our newspaper of much, several hours of judgment yesterday. The trial of the dramatic proceeding, if you ask, that lasted for over 7 hours, around 9 a.m. all down to like 4:30 p.m. yesterday. And we had Justice James Omotosho of the Federal High Court following his conviction on all 7 counts of terrorism charges preferred against him by the federal government. Right. So during the verdict, insisting that the court could not proceed as he had not filed his final written address, erased by his name and all that, and even accused the judge of bias and claimed that he lacked an understanding of the law. But after a brief recess, the prosecution led by Adegboyega urged the court to continue the trial without Kanu, citing his disruptive conduct. And of course, the judge, stated that while the defendant had a constitutional right to be present during the trial, that repeated misconduct can also a temple of God. He just cited that, and he also noted that Kanu's unruly attitude was not new, as he had previously had indicated he would not be present. I mean, he would not present a defense, and that, yes, with delivery of the ruling and all of that. I just want to run down of, the 7 hours of what happened yesterday, so that we can have, he was sentenced to life imprisonment to disintegrate Southeast, South, and some parts of the Middle Belt from Nigeria, engaging in act of terrorism belonging to a prescribed group, killing security operatives, burning and destroying public properties, concealment, and importing an unregistered radioactive transmitter. And for count 3, which relates to the offense of his belonging to a prescribed terrorist group, the judge sentenced him to 20 years imprisonment without an option of 5. So he was sentenced to life imprisonment in relation to 1, 2, 4, 5, and 6 of the 7 count charge against him, right, on terrorism, engaging in several acts, all of that, and sentenced to 20 years imprisonment without an option of fine for count 3. Just to be clear on that. And on count 7, bordering on his unlawful importation of a radio transmitter for the purpose of broadcasting his activities of Radio Biafra, which is not registered in Nigeria, the judge sentenced him to 5 years imprisonment without an option of fine. So he said committing act of terrorism against the country by utterances such as saying that the people will die and the nation will stand still was an yesterday. And of course, it has been greeted with several reactions, for in a swift response as well to the developments and the judgments. Especially the Southeast leaders had said that they would explore a political solution. Federal House of Representatives Ben Kalu stating that hope is not lost, and political solution is still underway to secure Kanu's release. Of course, even several practitioners and analysts are saying that, well, if he's not okay with the judgment, he can still approach the appeal court. I could tell and count your reactions while the session was going on yesterday, but what's your reaction?
And again, nothing came to me as a surprise, even though there was no reason for us to have preempted what would happen at that High Court of Justice James Omotosho. Again, we don't need to go round and round again talking about what happened, what had not happened. Nnamdi Kanu's behavior at the court, the judgment itself, as consultant to him in court. The prosecuting counsel too also had a lot to say. So I'm sure that, look, it was one of the most controversial issues in our nation yesterday, and so it got a lot of attention. And again, because of time, there's no reason that we will continue to repeat what a lot of people have seen. Judgment has been passed. Legally speaking, Nnamdi Kanu can still appeal the judgment. He can proceed to the appeal court to appeal the judgment. And I think if you had Justice Omotosho yesterday, one of the things he said was that, look, to appeal this judgment. So again, I think the legal consultants of Nnamdi Kanu, because I can't call them his lawyers again, because they came in here yesterday as consultants, have said that they will be approaching the appeal court because they saw it as a service. The reality is this, Sage. I'm hoping that there will be a political solution to this matter. The reason why we've not been able to, again, a lot of the political leaders in the Southeast, for me, are just mere opportunists. You can see that they started to jump onto it. So we look for, until the man was sentenced to life imprisonment. So everybody is issuing a statement because they themselves know that Nnamdi Kanu has been made a hero. He has become influence and capacity to be able to move his ideology amongst his people. So a free Nnamdi Kanu is a threat to their political survival. They know. So some of them would rather be against their own political interest, if you understand what I'm saying. So a lot of the statements you will see are just me. So because if the politicals should continue this trial, how are we sure anything would happen to get him out of prison? But I think that for the sake of fairness and equity, because we've seen people who have done agitations in the country too, if you are able to do that to other people, there's no reason why. begin to have some real conversations with Nnamdi Kanu. Again, I would have access to people who can begin to tell him to tone it down, his temperament. Because again, at the end of the day, he will stop everything, So this requires a lot of deep thinking. I'm hoping that leaders of Tocqueville and get enough attention and respect from the president has got for the political leadership in the day. He wants to begin to push for this political solution. The politicians in my
mind, the political solution, especially from the Saudis people, the judge seemed to be sentenced to death for the terrorism offenses.
Yeah, it was supposed to come to capital punishment.
He quoted the scriptures and all of that, and so he had to give him that kind of judgment. And according to recorded in the facility in the past, so he ordered that Kanu be kept in a protective prison custody in any parts of the country other than the Kuje facility. Digital. So
let's again.
I want to was a political.
It's a prophet.
I just came across it and
as a political stunt. Okay, wait. See, again, the people have a right to their. Is that the way it was? Okay, if you can realize it, the whole people in the South is now vote for Tinubu.
I was expecting I literally
of perception, different kinds of opinion. Okay, it's a political stunt. So that in 2027 they will now release it. So when they release it in 2027, what will now happen? The whole people in the South.
In case you're interested in more details, you want to just go through the reports in our papers. We have it across board. You get to see that. Also in the Guardian newspaper, you also get to see the very story, and also the Vanguard newspaper captures that. You also see that in the Vanguard newspaper. Away from that, let's also talk about an update from, the much talked about church attack. Report is showing here that these kidnappers million naira each. Now, the bandits who abducted the worshippers from the CSC Eruku Okego in Ekiti local government area of Kwara State reportedly demanded 100 million naira ransom per victim. According to violent attack during the church service, and multiple family sources and community leaders had confirmed this, to the media yesterday, that the kidnappers had commenced contacting relatives of the victims using the phones of the abductees by the abductors. That it is true that the bandits have started contacting family members using the victims' phones to demand ransom. And he also narrated that it was inside. Okay, yes, according to those abducted, he said that the kidnappers were also reaching out systematically, that he was 4 of his family members
to pay 400 million
400 million naira, 100 million naira each, and he had to escape through a window while others were taken away. Meanwhile, the traditional ruler of the town, Owa of Eruku Oba Busari Olanrewaju, had appealed for urgent government intervention, to ensure the safe rescue of the victim, and all of that. Side forward, I have okay, let me just take this. It's just given like a report. On Wednesday, they had to condemn the abduction of the local government area of Kebbi State. Side forward, the ransom payment. What is the hope of these people?
Okay, now 2 things, or maybe 3, will possibly happen on this one. The fact is that, and I'm sure even the deranged kidnappers, the so-called bandits, know that there's nobody in that church, that community, that will be able to raise 100 million to free anybody. If you look at that community, that town, how would anybody in that place now raise 100 million for ransom? How? Where is it going to come from? So I think they know. So most likely that's information and message, right? The families can't raise this money. Where are they going to get the money? I'm just saying that even if it's not a rule, how many Nigerians now are in that economic bracket? The job of the government to begin to look at these things. And I'm talking about the government of Kwara State, the federal government inclusive, to find a way to quickly release and rescue and release these people. Now, rescue will now come in different form. Or they will be going all out to find a way to exterminate them and then rescue what was the response time of our security operatives, our personnel? Should they have chased them down? Were they afraid that there will be collateral damage? Now they must have settled in wherever they are. Because these are guys who understand bushfires, it's a network, it's a syndicate, God knows wherever they are now. So it's a very, very difficult situation. A very difficult and terrible situation for the victims and their families. It's a very embarrassing situation for the government and the country. Maybe more. And so it's just very, very unfortunate. And that's why some of us are starting to think you might begin to start to have a rethink. It's not to be delusional about it. I think it cannot happen. These things are happening and to call them up. Look at even the story of this Tʀᴇɪᴅs Iṛ. That church service was a Thanksgiving service for 18 kidnapped victims who had been kidnapped, not knowing that a bigger one was coming. This continuous attack to communities and people within Kwara State. As the stretch lines are from Kwara to Kogi to Niger, down to Nasarawa, even the fringes of Abuja, Kaduna, down to the entire northwest to the northeast. Nowhere is safe in reality. Don't be deceived. Forget the rhetoric from government, and this is not to sound the alarm. It brings back two sets of victims. We have the school girls now in Kebbi State, 25 of them. So whatever, we have over 20 young girls now who are in the kidnappers' den, the bandits' den as we speak. We need to bring those ones back home. We have over 30 worshippers too now in Kwara. And these deranged elements are the bandits, even according to reports, allegedly. I laugh when I see people here in the West because they are not victims. Thinking, can you even sleep? Think we are discussing politics or you are just being critical of government because it does not really concern them. Or because they think that this is all about.
Side forward.
It's unfortunate.
I don't know. It's more than unfortunate because
they know that those people. You just saw the church. You know, if you lose your phone, you are told the police. They will tell you to pay. I was still having a conversation with Joseph Fọlọ́runṣọ́ when he said that the police even contract tracking of phones.
I don't know.
Anyway, and you can see yesterday at the congressional hearing.
We'll come to that.
When one left, discussed. We were. We'll
come to that side for that one is another case entirely. I just want to pick this as well with the security issue. The Vanguard is reporting that no fewer than 20 out of the 34 local government areas in Katsina State have reportedly entered into a peace accord with bandits, even as of the affected communities. The agreements reached during a meeting attended by the council chairman and traditional rulers from the participating local government areas, saw bandits arriving at the venue on motorcycles, firing gunshots into the air, leaving less than an hour later. Journalists were apart from, of course, filming the proceedings to the security concerns. According to media reports on details of the truce, that the bandits demanded the release of their colleagues currently processed through security agencies and correctional facilities. But despite the fact, this pact, definitely residents with fear and uncertainty still remains widespread, as some communities under the peace deal have continued to experience attack even aside this deal and all of that side for it.
You see, out of 34 local governments, 20 local governments have signed the peace deal with bandits in Katsina State, in this country. Really more. Out of what? So that in itself begins to question the effectiveness of these negotiations. And if you look at they come out, they sit down. They might even give them bush meat. I think people will say that if they say Nigeria to you at this time and you understand it, that means that you yourself look correct. Your head look alive as a Nigerian. The things I have seen in the last 20, 25 years, there are things that you begin to ask yourself. Was this the same country that we grew up above 10 and above? I had the opportunity of always sitting back with my great grandfather to listen to news. So that was where the culture came from. But that we are now gotten to the point where criminals will now come out with their weapons and then go back like that too. This very popular one where the guy had the military cap and then put some magazines about to help me interpret where the guy are they blaming them. So why is Nigeria blaming them? People know about what they do. Okay, let anybody come and explain to me now. The situation. Let us make sense of it. You don't understand what I'm saying?
Sorry for that.
Is there something about this problem that we only man do after we are Nigerians and the way they are talking down on us, the way they were schooling us? You don't understand the way they made us look, you know, there's this very popular, I think I've showed it to you before. People say, oh, it's just a racist, you know, how will the colonialists tell us the way we are? But people are reading, you see, the minds out of patriotism and love for our country. So, but the reality is that when we look at ourselves and we want to tell ourselves the truth, and we behave like people who are capable of even running ourselves as responsible individuals, we might begin to live in that and say, but if you listen to what they were saying about us, and you don't set enough against patriotism, the love for the country, but in reality, there was nothing they said about us here yesterday. That's not the truth. Continuous, consistent failure in government. You know, for every of the session, Lady Mo, they talked about the fact that, look, the government, and we not been saying it. What, Tommy?
So you just react to it together since you're already talking about that Donald Trump. So we had of course the president threatened that the US military would enter Nigeria, you know, guns are blazing. Like the Chris Smith led committee had conveyed the hearing to review the hope and scope of religious persecution in Nigeria, potential violence. And so we saw, I'm giving a report from the alleged genocide and the US Congress splitting over the Nigeria CPC designation. So we saw lawmakers, religious leaders, even United Africa yesterday held an open hearing on the President Trump's redesignation of Nigeria as a country of concern. And so, of course, they setting the tone for the hearing, we had Chairman Chris Smith highlighted that 89% of all Christians martyred worldwide are in Nigeria, with over and murder with total impunity from Nigeria officials. He argued that attacks were, unequivocally religiously motivated. He blamed the previous administration for weakening U.S. pressure for removing Nigeria from the country of concern. Particular concerns are persecuted and would not stop fighting until perpetrators are being brought to justice. Time will go. Actually, if I continue to talk about these things, we had Pratt also reviewed Trump's administration to developing a plan to incentivize.
There's a story, I think, in the Guardian newspaper that took the aspect where they told President Tinubu to appoint an ambassador.
Yes.
So that's the woman. I think she's. I'm looking because again there was a lot that was said yesterday, but there's this part of the conversation yesterday that is important because of time.
This Bogo.
She's the what? She's the what?
Okay, she's the senior program officer for Africa.
That session. But the report says a whole lot about what she said. And at least can we just quickly have a complete read of whatever she said in the report?
Okay, she appealed to countries.
Managed narratives about the country. Good.
Country's security is central to its response. Nigerian citizens need justice as criminality in the Middle Belt has increased. She said that Nigeria's single federal police force struggles to address the country's complex security challenges, that the Tinubu's administration needs to accelerate initiatives to improve citizens' security, including the recruitment of the 30,000 new police personnel she approved in June. And then, she also noted that the military in Nigeria is overstretched, that many of them are handling duties that should be handled by the police, and it is essential to think about crimes. Harping on the need to coordinate federal and state actions and messaging. She also said that effective coordination is desperately needed among Nigeria's federal and state governments, and that it is often undermined by finger pointing, which must stop. address the use of
religion.
About
the electoral system too.
Yes,
elections,
that it is important to start laying the groundwork for peaceful elections, especially to restore public trust in the electoral system.
A lot was said that out of patriotism, and the love for my darling country, a very great country, it was very tough. How my darling country, I don't want to use the word ridiculed, but basically what happened at that session was meat, despite all the God-given resources. It was just coming to my mind. John Paroni. John Paromowa. Cha Morawani. Can we truly say we've done very well? Bit old. Where bandits comes out with their weapons to negotiate with communities. Let them know. How did you get to the point where we now have school children who can no longer to go to school? We are now closing down schools.
With faces. You used to say unknown.
Have been abducted, ransoms have been demanded. Let's accept the truth. It's not a matter of whether there's Christian genocide or not. Call it whatever you want to call it. If you say there's no Christian genocide, no problem. Okay, what is happening? Killing of Nigerians. But where is the leadership? That's the question. Because throughout that session yesterday, there was a debate on that congressional hearing yesterday. Agreed that there was a failure on the part of government to protect Nigeria. That was the summary of everything. And I hope that our National Assembly members watch that session. The seriousness by which they were having that conversation, the level of intellect, the level of knowledge, the depth in research, the basic what to was you, Lady Mo. All the things that we are packaging. If you don't understand what I'm saying.
Right.
If you are a foreign direct investor anywhere in the world and you listen to that congressional hearing, but you want parody, are they lying about our situation? A lot of work with NGOs in Nigeria. She knows the country. I'm sure she's a part of us. But you could see that, look, she was able to marshal. She talked about framing of the issues. A basic thing as even appointing ambassadors we have not done. So it's not just to go and get one politician. Just get, if you need ambassadorial thing, get people who said it's working. Don't go just because of politics. Because the framing, global framing of issues, can you now see that despite these governments appointing almost 20 people to manage it as special advisors or special assistants on media and information management, there are about 15 to 20 of them. From Daniel Bwala to what's our guy's name? Bayo Nonuga, to Sunday Dare. 20! So it's not about the number, it's about the quality. It's not about the number. Quantity call, it's about the quality. Can you now see? At some point, this other joker was just happy. So this government needs to get serious. Like I said, it was bitter. It was painful to watch. Very painful because basically Nigeria was on trial. It's unfortunate. Very, very painful and unfortunate.
Side for another thing, if the giants of Africa is still struggling with fulfilling, it's already getting to me side forward, and I don't know. Let me just read out the headline. Roasted cows from Niger recovered in Lagos, receiving and selling. Look, Jonathan yesterday warning that Nigeria's democracy was being suffocated by reckless. President said that democracy was standing in Nigeria because of the likes of the former.
He said that look, rascals, miscreants, cows, scoundrels. Our politics have become so dirty that good people are even standing far from it. But the reality is that if you say politics is a dirty game and you will not participate in it, you allow dirty people to continue to rule you anymore. So we will still urge well-meaning Nigerians, people of sound mind, people with integrity. No matter how bad the situation is, let us still be a part of the political process. Because again, you cannot say politics is a dirty game and you stand away from it. What it means is that you continue to allow dirty people to rule you.
Of course.
They will be the one.
Space in the all the spaces safe in the country. Even the medical is still getting worse because the government has still not met any of its major demands, and this, especially the
resident doctors.
Yes, so they are refuting the Labour Ministry's claim that progress is being made towards ending the strike. They are saying that no progress is going on at all, that they are still on the same spot. That's according to the Guardian newspaper. Just, the page 24 captures the heavy ransom bandits demanding 3 billion naira, that's 100 million naira each, of the victims that were kidnapped in Kwara churchgoers. We have on the alleged genocide, the U.S. Congress splitting over Nigeria's CPC designation. Page 2 captures that in the Punch. Bafemi Awolowo's grandson, Segun, dies. Yes, also at age 62. Very unfortunate, right?
Very unfortunate.
Page 24.
Condole with the Awolowo family. For people who know the story of Segun Awolowo, I gave these stories I got from my grandfather. From Awolowo to Segun Awolowo Senior and this Segun Awolowo. Very interesting story, how so it may be a story for another day.
Right. Auditor General indict CBN over recycled 29.7 billion naira dirty banknotes. That's under Godwin Emefiele. Page 23 caption. Side forward.
Yes, now. You know what the man showed us? He showed us.
Man, we are still struggling with the aftermath of it. Ondo madman
because we are already, I don't want to say what we have to say.
Right.
Something in Lagos.
Yes, that happened. I saw the report. I think yesterday or day before yesterday or so.
Where a madman, I think,
earlier this week. And the Guardian says U.S. lawmakers question Nigeria's capacity to curb violence. Page 6 captures that in the alleged Christian genocide. Page 3 captures on the pattern of targeted violence now clear. Khan revealing that on page 4 in the Vanguard newspaper. And, court jails Kanu for life. We have that on page 5 rather, in the Vanguard. Time to kick out NFF. The sports column of page 13 in the Vanguard newspaper has that. Side forward. We'll come back for Mainland Focus. Thank you for your time and your analysis. Good morning once again.
Good morning.